Hello everyone. Today I'm back with another chapter of the story about the poor girl named Sam. I hope you enjoy the video. After discovering the truth, that the person who risked her life to save him in the dark, stormy night deep in the forest was not Bitch, but Sam, a timid, withdrawn, fragile girl, Lee felt something tighten painfully inside his chest. He stood frozen for a long time, his eyes filled with gratitude and guilt. When he offered to walk her home, Sam immediately stepped back, gripping the strap of her cloth bag, her face full of uneasiness. She softly said she could walk home herself, asking him not to worry. But Lee couldn't just leave her alone, not after learning that she was the one who kept him alive when he was on the verge of collapsing in the forest. He calmly insisted that it wasn't a bother, it was something he wanted to do. Sam lowered her head, avoiding his gaze. She hesitated for a long time before finally, quietly nodding, agreeing to let him walk with her part of the way. The village path in the late afternoon was so quiet that even the sound of dry leaves rolling in the wind could be heard clearly. The two of them walked side by side, but Sam always kept a noticeable distance. Every time Lee accidentally glanced at her, she would duck her head and take a slightly faster step, as if trying to slip away from attention. Halfway down the road, Sam suddenly stopped. Her voice was so soft he had to listen closely to catch it. She said she had to go to work. She needed to go to the construction site ahead to ask for a labor job. The kind of heavy work that even grown men struggled with made Lee frown immediately. How could a delicate girl like Sam possibly endure it? But she just offered him a faint smile and said she was used to it. Then she bowed politely and was about to turn into the dirt path. At that moment a figure appeared ahead. It was Bitch. She had just stepped out of the small convenience shop when she saw Lee and Sam standing and talking. Not arguing, not avoiding, but talking clearly and calmly. Bitch's heart nearly jumped out of her chest. A wave of fear choked her. If Lee finds out she wasn't the one who saved him, then what? If the truth comes out, her path into the Lee family will be destroyed instantly. She immediately hid behind a bush, holding her breath as she watched. The longer she looked, the paler her face became, her hands trembling. Even after Lee walked away, Bitch stood frozen for a few more seconds before turning and sprinting home, her heart pounding violently. Meanwhile, after parting ways with Lee, Sam headed straight into the construction site to look for work. She didn't ask for much. As long as someone could let her carry bricks, fetch water, or clean, she would do anything. The manager looked at her thin frame and asked if she could handle it. Sam simply bowed with a gentle smile and said she could. That weak smile made several workers nearby sigh in pity, but they still accepted her because she looked so pitiful. She was given an old pair of gloves, then immediately started working, lifting, moving, cleaning. Sweat poured down her face, but she never complained. Anyone watching from afar would see a tiny silhouette fighting against life with every bit of strength she had. From a distance on the road, Lee was still leaning against his car, unconsciously watching her. Seeing her small figure struggling with stacks of bricks made his chest tighten. The sight hurt him more than the wound he had suffered in the forest that night. At the same time, Bitch burst into her house in a near panic. Seeing her daughter's pale face, her mother immediately bombarded her with questions. When Bitch explained that she saw Sam talking with Lee, her mother's expression changed instantly. The two sat close together, whispering urgently. Breathless, Bitch said that if Lee learned the truth, that Sam was the one who saved him, then all her carefully constructed image would collapse. Her mother grabbed her hand, her voice full of calculation. They must eliminate the risk that Sam posed before things spiral out of control. Bitch nodded immediately, jealousy and fear flashing in her eyes. She was determined. Sam must never be allowed to get near Lee again. Bitch and her mother sat close together in the dimly lit kitchen, both of their faces tense. Bitch spoke between shaky breaths. "Mom, what do I do now? If Lee finds out I lied, I'll lose everything. Her mother frowned, palm hitting the table lightly. There's only one way. Make that girl run into trouble. The dirtier she looks, the worse she seems, the more people will doubt her. If you want to secure your future, you must stop her now. Bitch swallowed hard, her fear slowly shifting into calculation. After a few minutes of whispering back and forth, they decided to frame Sam for theft. As long as there was evidence, no matter what Sam said, no one would believe her. Bitch immediately called a thug she knew, handed him some money, then pulled him into a quiet corner to discuss the plan. They spoke in hushed tones, Bitch's face full of nervousness while the man smirked and nodded along. The plan only required a few simple steps. Once executed, Sam would fall right into the trap. From outside the window, Bitch's mother watched with cold, calculating eyes. Meanwhile, Sam was completely unaware of the storm being plotted behind her back. After a long day of exhausting labor at the construction site, her body aching from lifting stacks of bricks, she still managed to smile faintly when the manager handed her the day's wages. All she could think about was bringing the money home to help Bitch and her mother with groceries, even though she herself barely had anything. Sam always believed that if she worked hard enough, they wouldn't blame her. They wouldn't hate her anymore. As dusk fell, she returned home. The moment she stepped into the yard, Bitch hurried out, pretending to look worried. Sister Sam, my phone stopped working. Can you take it to get repaired for me? I have to help Mom cook. Without waiting for a reply, Bitch placed the phone into Sam's hands, looking so pitiful that anyone would believe her. Flustered, Sam accepted it. Although exhausted, she still nodded. All right, I'll take it to get fixed. She walked down the village path, clutching the phone tightly, worrying whether the repair would cost too much, and whether she had enough to cover it. But she still kept going because she believed it was the right thing to do. Halfway down the road, a strange man appeared in the distance. His shadowy figure made Sam instinctively tense. He approached, voice rough. Hand over the phone. Sam stepped back, trembling. And it's not mine. I'm just taking it to get repaired. But before she could finish, he lunged forward and yanked it. Terrified, she held on desperately. They struggled for a bit, but she was far too weak. With one harsh shove, he sent her crashing onto the ground, her palms burning with pain. He grabbed the phone and sprinted off into the darkness. Sam froze for a moment, overwhelmed. Tears welled in her eyes as she stared at her scraped hand, then at the long shadowy path ahead. She shakily stood up, tears falling silently. She had no idea how she would explain this to Bitch and her mother, only that trouble was coming again. Across the road, the thug pulled the phone out of his pocket and immediately called Bitch. It's done. I've got the phone. Bitch smirked triumphantly. Her mother nodded in approval. Wasting no time, they headed straight to the police station to file a report, wearing expressions of fake worry like true victims. Bitch spoke with a trembling voice. Officer, I think Sister Sam took my phone. She always wanted a new one. I think she stole it and pretended she was taking it for repair. Her mother quickly chimed in. It's not the first time. That girl is always eyeing our family's things. I'm very worried. Please investigate. The officer on duty wrote down their statements. Sensing something suspicious, he stood up. All right, we'll go check the house. The two women pretended to look frightened, but their eyes gleamed with satisfaction. All three headed toward the house, ready for the scene they believed would push Sam straight into the abyss. After a long wait, the sound of shuffling slippers echoed in the yard. Sam had returned. The moment she stepped through the gate, she froze. The police were standing in front of the house, with Bitch and her mother next to them. Before she could understand what was happening, an officer stepped forward, his voice stern. Miss Sam, we need you to come to the station to give a statement. Sam stood still, eyes widening in shock. Sir, what happened? I didn't do anything wrong. No one answered her. A police officer gently took her arm, while behind him, Bitch pretended to wipe her tears, and her mother lowered her head as if deeply distressed. Sam's heart pounded violently, her legs felt weak, but she obeyed without resisting. She didn't dare to. She had no idea what was happening to her. At the station, after hearing the officers explain everything, that bitch accused her of stealing the phone and selling it, and now it couldn't be found. Sam felt like the world tilted beneath her. She immediately shook her head, her voice trembling as if she might burst into tears. No, I didn't take it. She told me her phone broke and asked me to take it for repair. But on the way, someone really did steal it from me. The officers exchanged uncertain looks. Was there any witness? Sam shook her head again, this time with tears spilling out. No, I was alone. I'm not lying. But her explanation was too fragile, too vague. No one believed her. After the questioning, the police informed her that they had to detain her temporarily for investigation. Since there was no evidence supporting her claim that she'd been robbed, the words struck her like lightning. The air around her blurred. Her breath caught in her throat. She cried out softly, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't steal. Please don't lock me up. But it was already written in the report. She was taken to a small holding cell, cold, dim, suffocating. When the iron door slammed shut with a harsh metallic clang, her heart sank as if dropping into a bottomless pit. Meanwhile, Lee had no idea what was going on. At home, his sister kept urging, Lee, you must go to this blind date. The girl Mai is gentle, polite, comes from a good family. I already promised them. Lee sighed, not wanting to argue. He believed that love must come naturally, it couldn't be forced. But his sister kept pleading, saying he worked too much and neglected relationships. In the end, he reluctantly agreed to have dinner with Mai. During the meal, Mai spoke softly and politely, but Lee couldn't focus. His mind kept drifting to Sam, her downcast eyes, her timid voice, and that fragile gentleness he suddenly felt compelled to protect. He didn't understand why he kept thinking of her, but the more he tried to push the thought aside, the clearer her image became. This dinner meant nothing to him, except to make his sister happy. Back in the holding cell, Sam curled up in a corner, arms wrapped tightly around her knees, her forehead resting against them. The injustice weighed so heavily on her that she felt she couldn't breathe. She had done nothing wrong. All she wanted was to help. Yet here she was locked up like a criminal. She thought of the accusing stares, of Bitch's false accusations, of her mother, the only person she wanted to support, and tears quietly streamed down her face. She even found herself wondering, what's the point of trying to be good, when people always think the worst of me? In that moment, Sam felt truly alone, as if the entire world had turned its back on her, and she had no one left on her side. That night, after having a few drinks with some neighbors, Sam's father slowly made his way home. As he approached the yard, he heard the voice of Bitch's mother mixed with hurried whispering. He paused to listen more closely, and the very first sentence he heard nearly stopped his heart. Sam got arrested. He lurched forward into the house, his face flushed from alcohol but his eyes sharp with worry. What? Sam got arrested? What are you talking about? Tell me exactly what happened. Bitch and her mother flinched in shock, instantly scrambling to cover things up. Bitch immediately put on a timid act. You uncle. It's just a misunderstanding, nothing serious. The police only questioned her a bit. Her mother quickly added, trying to divert him. You're drunk, don't listen to nonsense. About your daughter, we'll talk tomorrow. But the more they tried to hide, the more suspicious he became. Sam's father stood still for a few seconds, his lips trembling. You two are hiding something. Where is my daughter? No one answered. Panic surged through him. He turned and ran straight to the police station, not even bothering to grab a coat. The night air was cold, but his heart was burning. When he arrived and heard the officers explain the situation, he was so stunned he couldn't breathe. But what shocked him the most was learning that the person who filed the report was Bitch, Sam's own younger sister, the girl he had always believed was gentle and well-behaved. His face went pale. Though he had rarely spoken with his eldest daughter over the years, he knew her well enough. Sam was absolutely not the kind of person who would steal, nor was she someone who would ever fight over things that didn't belong to her. He clenched his fists, his voice hoarse. Impossible. Sam would never do something like this. I'm certain she's been framed by those two. A police officer on duty saw the despair on his face and spoke more gently. We understand. You can go in and see her for a moment. Sam's father walked slowly toward the holding area. When the door opened, Sam was sitting curled up in a corner, her face exhausted, her eyes red. The moment she saw her father, she stood up in disbelief. Dad, why are you here? He looked at her, and his aged eyes suddenly turned red. Sam, I know you didn't do it. I believe you. Just one sentence, and Sam broke down. For years she had endured everything alone, always thinking her father was indifferent, never defending her. But now inside this cold, gloomy room, he was the first and only person to stand by her. She burst into sobs. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder, trying to keep his voice steady. I'll ask the police to investigate thoroughly. Don't be scared. Then, as if remembering something, he stepped out. A few minutes later, he returned with several warm loaves of freshly baked bread. He asked one of the officers to give them to her because she wasn't allowed to take them directly. The officer opened the door and handed the bread to her, his voice softer than before. Your father brought this. Sam took it with trembling hands. She took a small bite and tears streamed down again, not out of sadness this time, but from the warmth that slowly spread inside her chest. For the first time in these terrible days, she didn't feel completely alone. Her father stood outside the glass window, eyes filled with sorrow. He whispered, Eat, my girl, stay strong. I'll take care of everything. I won't let you suffer injustice. In the darkness of that cramped holding cell, that simple loaf of bread became the greatest comfort to Sam. Even though she was wrongfully accused, even though she was framed, even though she was locked behind cold walls, her heart felt a little warmer, because someone still believed in her. The next morning when Lee arrived at the station, he immediately sensed something was off. The atmosphere felt unusually restless. A young officer hurried over to report. Officer Lee, there was a theft report last night. The suspect is Sam. Lee stopped dead in his tracks. Her name hit him so hard he dropped the stack of files in his hand. He spun around, eyes sharp. Who did you say? Which Sam? Sir, the girl you walked home the other day. Her family came to report her. Lee's chest tightened. He clenched his hand, sensing something deeply wrong. Her family filed it? Who exactly? Sir, her younger sister, I think. The name is B. The more he heard, the more uncomfortable he felt. A strange suspicion crept into him. He remembered the fragile look in Sam's eyes, the way she always tried not to trouble anyone. Someone like her would never steal. Without another second of hesitation, he headed straight toward the holding area. Every step he took felt heavy, weighed down by worry, anger, and the lingering image of her frightened eyes. When the cell door opened, Sam was sitting curled against the wall, her face exhausted, hurriedly wiping her tears the moment she saw him. Lee looked at her, and his heart sank. She was so small, so delicate. It was as if even the cold iron bars were too harsh for her. He stepped closer to the bars, his voice dropping to a gentle tone. Sam, I heard you're suspected of stealing. Tell me what happened. The moment she heard his voice, all the restraint she'd been holding on to collapsed. She trembled, then slowly recounted everything. From the moment Bitch asked her to take the phone for repair, to the strange man who snatched it, to being arrested the moment she stepped home. Her voice cracked, her eyes wet, yet she tried so hard not to cry in front of him. Lee stood silently listening to every single word. With each detail, his brows knit tighter. When she described being shoved to the ground during the struggle, his hand curled into a fist. This wasn't a lie. This was a desperate girl clinging to the truth. When she finished, Lee let out a long exhale, then his voice softened, completely different from his usual authoritative tone. I believe you too, Sam. You're not that kind of person. Don't be afraid. Sam lowered her head as tears slipped down her hands. I'll reopen the investigation, Lee continued, his voice firm. I promise I'll clear your name. You won't face this alone. Sam looked up, her eyes red but filled with a faint spark of hope. Thank you. I just want you to find the person who did this, so people won't think badly of me. Lee looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. I will. I promise. In that moment, Sam felt as if someone had finally reached down to pull her out of the darkness. And for Lee, that moment made him realize something even clearer. The girl in front of him wasn't like anyone he had ever known. She was fragile, quiet, timid. Yet her kindness shone so brightly that he felt compelled to protect her at any cost. He turned and walked out of the cell, but deep in his heart, his decision was already made. This case he would personally handle it.
Xin chào mọi người, rất vui được gặp lại mọi người trong video hôm nay của mình. Chúc mọi người có một ngày mới an lành và hạnh phúc. Video hôm nay của mình kể về câu chuyện của cô gái nghèo mang tên Lý Tự Sam. Tự Sam đã bị mẹ nuôi và Bích hãm hại và bị nhốt vào tù. Cảnh sát Ly sau khi biết chuyện thì đã tìm mọi cách để giúp đỡ Tự Sam. Liệu rằng cảnh sát Ly sẽ làm gì để cứu đưa Tự Sam ra khỏi tù? Mời mọi người cùng đón xem ở video tiếp theo nha. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video hôm nay của mình. Hy vọng rằng mọi người sẽ yêu thích những câu chuyện của mình và để lại cho mình một vài nhận xét ở dưới phần bình luận. Nếu mà mọi người cảm thấy yêu thích kênh của mình thì nhớ chia sẻ cho bạn bè. Và để không bỏ lỡ video mới nhất thì mọi người nhớ like, share, bật chuông thông báo để nhận thông báo khi mình đăng video mới nhất nha. Cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video hôm nay. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại mọi người nha.